I don't have friends. I got family.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Reviews. My name is John.
And my name is Matt.
And we are up to the Fast and Furious 7, I guess it's the 7th movie in the franchise. It's again directed by Justin Lin.
I don't think it, maybe it is, because...
No, it is.
Tokyo Drift.
It's 3, and then 4 is 4, 5 is 5, and 6 is 6.
Oh,
and
okay,
this
yeah,
one again brings back a bunch of our old friends, a bunch of family members, including Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, you know, the whole gang. And then we get The Rock back. We get a new member. We get Jason Statham in this movie.
Yep, we sure do.
As something Shaw. I always forget his name. Not
Deckard.
Deckard. I've never met a person named Deckard.
Well, it is a English. He's from like Britain or England or...
Well, yeah, his brother's name is Owen, but Owen and Deckard?
So this chair is now...
But that's... See, mine doesn't squeak that way. Mine only squeaks when you go... So you have they have two different squeaks.
Yeah, these chairs, that's what you get for Amazon.
Hey, it wasn't IKEA though.
No, IKEA would have been much better.
Really?
Yeah, IKEA's
I thought people didn't like IKEA.
All that furniture is IKEA.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, color me surprised. And we also get Kurt Russell in this movie for the first time as Mr. Nobody.
I love Kurt Russell in this movie.
Kurt Russell is by far the best part of this movie. So, right off the top, just want to let you guys all know that I truly believe, after watching this movie yesterday, that this is the worst Fast and Furious film in the entire franchise, saved only by the closing scene of this movie with a great song and a good send-off to Paul Walker, who unfortunately passed away before this movie was finished.
For Paul,
which, yeah, I'll admit,
Buster.
That does tug at your heartstrings at the very end, and I think that's what hurts this movie, is that you can kind of tell that they had to work around him passing away.
Yeah.
So I think that actually hurts the film as a whole, and also the fact that they turn, like, you have to turn your brain off for these movies, I admit.
Yeah.
But they turn the stupidity level high up on this one.
I don't know. I like this one. I don't think it's the worst. I still think I'm going to give that to probably part 4.
At least 4, like this one.
Again, I don't hate 4 either. I don't hate any of these movies.
No, this was the one I gave the lowest grade to, and I still put a like heart on Letterboxd. Like, I gave it 2.5 stars, because there's still some cool stuff in this movie.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. I was still a little mad.
You didn't tear up or anything?
No.
Really?
No.
This is the second movie this week that's made me choke up.
You cried during Anchorman, too?
No, Endgame.
Oh, well, Endgame will do that. I Love You 3000 will fucking hurt your heart.
Sark, can you hear me? It's Peter.
Yeah.
When you watched Endgame, did you see the kid from Iron Man 3 in the background this time?
That's who it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I saw him, but I was like, is that really supposed to be who that is?
Yeah, that's because at least they didn't erase everything from Iron Man 3. It's a very underrated movie, in my opinion.
It's good.
In the MCU.
Not the best Iron Man, but, you know.
Well, it can't be because of the first one, but it's better than 2, which is the worst MCU movie.
That's wrong.
No, it's not. I'm doubling down on that. Iron Man 2 is the worst Iron Man movie.
You're crazy.
It's actually not. It's just the worst MCU movie. It's horrible.
Nah, I actually really like Iron Man 2.
But we could also, well, you know what? Why don't we dive into the worst Fast and Furious movie in Fast and Furious 7 so we could talk about this.
Well, that's your opinion.
Well, okay, it's not a piece of garbage. I'm over-exaggerating, but I have some things to say.
So the movie opens up with Jason Statham, Deckard Shaw, in the hospital room standing over the burned-up Owen Shaw.
Yes.
And then we find out that it is his older brother.
Deckard, and he's a little upset what happened to his brother.
Yeah, he's a little upset, and he promises him that he's going to avenge him. He's an avenger.
Pretty much. And I just want to point this out. I have 3 brothers. If any of my 3 brothers put themselves in this position and they want to be a crime lord and they decide, hey, I'm going to go out there and fucking light the world on fire. If one of them gets put in a hospital bed or even gets killed, I'm not avenging their death.
No.
It's their own fault. So this guy is putting himself on the line for his brother, and he's not even dead.
You're a shitty brother.
You would do that for your brothers?
Yeah, why not?
You would never be able to. You couldn't do half the things that Jason Statham did in this fucking movie.
How do you know?
I know you, okay? Jason Statham is Jason fucking Statham, all right?
Yes.
He could do a lot. So him, especially since he was an MI6 agent who like went off the grid and no one's even heard from him in 6 years.
It was like a throwaway line that they created a monster. He was like some unstoppable special force, and they sent like 50 guys to go retire him, and he killed them all, and then he's been missing for the past however
6
many
years.
years.
Yeah.
So he's the baddest man on the planet. And then after he talks to his brother, he lays a fucking like a Uzi 9mm or submachine gun or whatever in his lap. And I was like, he's not allowed to have that in the hospital. And then it pans out,
and
then you see the hospital, the nurse and them cowering, and then he's like, if you, what did they say? Take care of my brother, and if anything happens, then I'll come and find you. And then it pans out, you just see pandemonium
all over the lobby of this stuff.
It just took out Special Forces agent, and just everywhere. He's just walking out of there like no big deal.
No big deal. Yeah, because eventually we see where
Can't
he
be
is at.
stopped. He's like the Terminator, really.
I guess. That was just, but again, like he was willing to risk it all for his brother.
Yeah, just to visit him in the hospital.
Just to visit him. He loves his brother that much. I love my brothers, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to stick my neck out when you tried to blow up the earth. That's all I'm saying.
Then we pan over to Dom and Letty, and he's fishing for memories in her head, I guess, right?
The race wars thing. I had a question for you.
I actually really like that.
So I did love the race wars thing.
I love that.
But they did say one thing that I didn't remember if it's true. Did they invent race wars?
Well, you can't say he didn't.
Yeah, I guess you can't say
You know, because that was his thing. Like, they had a pretty big setup when they went there. But, I mean, he was he was the main guy in the racing scene back in LA at that point. So maybe he did start race wars. You know, you can't argue that.
I guess I can't rule it out. Right?
Yeah, you can't rule that out.
Yeah.
But I really loved the Return to Race Wars.
Me too.
They played the theme from the first one, the song from the
There
first
was a lot of homages to the first one. When they're actually later in the movie, when they're in front of LA again, that was the same shot from the first
Paul
one.
Walker in the Eclipse.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And
Which I think is good, because this did feel like a conclusion. Like, this could have been the last one.
Yeah, so then Letty does a race, and then she kind of freaks out when everyone starts congratulating her. Hector comes, and she turns around and hits him with the hook. And
and he laughed it off, actually.
She's still got it.
Yeah.
And then she takes off because she's freaked out, and she's still having problems adjusting to everyone knowing her and her not knowing
Yeah, it's like coming back in flashes, she says.
Yep, and then it flashes over to Brian. Looks like he's getting ready for a race.
Uh-huh.
And he's just moving up in line in the minivan, dropping the kid off at school.
Yep.
So,
And
Brian, as he said, he misses the bullets.
he misses the bullets, which I never... was he in that much shootouts? Like,
Well, yeah, of course.
when he's been with
at this point?
Yeah, with the boys, but before that...
But he was a cop before then, you know?
Yeah, but how much shootouts do you think he was in? I don't know. I guess I don't know.
To be an undercover agent, you had to
I guess
go
you had
through
to be
some shit at some point, you know?
Well, he's definitely a good undercover cop. We could see that in this movie, too. Because he falls right back into, like, that when they start to get going. And then is the next scene where Dom pulls up to Letty at the funeral.
Letty takes off. She goes to the cemetery to see her gravesite. Mm-hmm. And she's looking at the headstone.
Dom pulls up with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I like that.
And she's like, what are you going to do? Something I should have done a long time ago. And he doesn't do it, though, because she stops
I just like to think, like, especially later in the movie when he pretend dies.
Oh, my God.
But, like, I like to think that Vin Diesel had, like, a lot of writing and
there's a scene
suggestions.
There's a scene in this movie where they do a close-up on his face when he's talking to Hobbs, and I think he just says family, and it's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, these are his movies.
Yeah,
you know?
they are. He's the star.
Movies.
He's the star. It's definitely...
And they're great movies, so you know what? Good for him.
I guess.
And he's soaking it up. She leaves. This is where she breaks up with him or something.
She's like...
Or she says...
she's basically... Well, they...
She says goodbye or whatever,
Yeah, we
right?
think they're done, but then she
Because she needs to go find herself because...
She doesn't know who she is?
Yeah, she doesn't. I get it. So after that, then we are at the DSS office with Hobbs.
Hobbs and Elena.
And Elena's back.
With a nice new haircut.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
She pulls that off well.
Yep, so they have a little interaction. She leaves for the night. Hobbs goes back in, and Jason Statham is in there...
sitting at his desk.
Sitting at the desk, poking around on the computer, and Hobbs is like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
he finds out.
Pretty fast.
Pretty fast. So Hobbs is in there. He's getting the information on the team that took down his brother. which is obviously Dom's crew. Get the little flash drive. Hobbs tries to stop it. He actually defends them. He's like, it was just me. There was nobody else.
Yeah, he tries to like take the responsibility, which he kind of should because he did set up the crew that did take him down.
Right. So they get in a little tussle. Elena comes back in, I guess. She heard something. She came as backup, and he throws some sort of grenade. Right?
Yeah, it was like a mine or something.
Puck, some sort of puck, and Elena almost bites the bullet, but Hobbs swoops in, grabs her. They're blown to safety
Out the window,
which
is about the 4th or 5th story on this building.
Yeah, a few stories up, but luckily there was a car underneath them to soften their landing.
Yes, so Elena, perfectly fine from this. Thank God that the Rock's body in the car broke the fall. The Rock, on the other hand, now he's going to be laid up for a little while. He's got a broken arm and a broken leg. Now, if you're worried about his spine and skull that just landed on the car, absolutely fine, no problem.
Yeah, but he is a beefcake, and there's a lot of extra muscle and body there to really...
I get that. He's a big boy. But Jesus Christ, there is no fucking way
Think about it. The car, it crushed in, so... It's not, I'm just saying, it's not impossible.
I guess that's not impossible. Believe me, there's a lot of impossible things coming up.
And he is banged up pretty good.
He is banged up because we see him in the hospital.
Still looking like a monster.
Well, he is the Rock.
Yeah.
We'll talk about when he has to get his cast removed later.
That man is a monster.
And then I believe we cut to the house, and there's a package from Tokyo sitting out front.
Yep, so then we cut over to the house, like you said. We're at, I forget the address.
1327, I believe.
Is that it? Yeah. We're at the Toretto household. And,
well, actually, is it that, or is it that Brian's house?
it's Dom's house.
That is Dom's house. Okay, yeah. Because he was, he's talking to his sister, and Brian's putting his son in the car. I guess they're going to school. And at this exact time, this is when he gets the phone call from Jason Statham.
Well, there is a package with all Japanese writing on it, and I think it might even say Tokyo. Mia's like, oh, Dom, you got a package, and Dom comes out, what is Han trying to convert me to, a turbocharger? Yeah. I'm like, okay. Because it's the only place to get turbos, but...
That's it.
This is where Dom gets his Batman detective.
Oh my God! How did he know this was going to blow up at that exact moment?
He gets a phone call and it says, "You don't know me, but you're about to." Or does he mention Han?
No, he doesn't. He says, "You don't." We just see the scene that we saw at the end of 6, the exact same scene. Yeah. Except this time we see it from Dom's perspective.
And then it says, "You don't know me, but you're about to." And then he immediately looks at the package
and he knows
tells
what it is.
Everybody to get down.
Yeah, he figured it all. He put it all together.
He knows it's a bomb.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So then they all just get blown down. Actually, Brian blows against the window.
Safety?
No, well, they did, but Brian blows against the van where his son's inside, and you see the glass break, and then they all jump up and they check on Jack, and he's fine.
And then it close up, zoom in on Dom, and you just see him fuming.
Oh, he's mad.
Someone messed with his family.
Yep, and I think this is when he goes and meets with Hobbs, right? After this. Someone tells him that Han's dead
in
now.
Between that, Mia told Dom that she's pregnant. She hasn't told Brian yet.
No, because he misses the bullets. Yeah, they went and saw Hobbs in the hospital. Then that's when Hobbs hands him.
And he said, "Who did this?"
Yeah, and he's like, and then he tells him, like, he gives him the folder, and then he tells him, like, that if you're gonna do this, the official statement is to stay out. But as my brother, he's like, I will tell you.
Because we're family now.
Because now we're family, exactly. Once you're in Dom's family, that's it. He's in. So this is where we see the Rock all laid up. This is the first time we see that he has a daughter that would come back in Hobbs and Shaw. So, because Vin was like, daughter?
Yeah, dad.
And this is where we get that super fucking close-up of fucking Vin Diesel where it's like, family.
And then I like how the daughter is like, my daddy said he kicked your ass or something. And then he goes, sweetie, your dad's on very heavy pain medication. His memory might be a little foggy.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fucking funny. I love The Rock laying there. His arms are just ridiculous.
He's a monster.
It's not fair.
Well, I mean, if you put in the time and dedication, and you could probably look like that if you wanted to.
Nobody could look like that.
What do you mean? Just work out every single minute of every day and eat better, and you will.
No, you don't just eat better. You have to eat like 4,000 calories a day to fucking look like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing you're going to do with your life, but look what happens.
I guess. You get to be in a Fast and Furious movie, and Act like you're the greatest cop in the world.
So they make some sort of plan, but Dom says,
He's got to go to Tokyo first.
Going to Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo. I'm bringing Han home.
And then this is actually when we cut to Tokyo, and we see the scenes from Tokyo Drift, and then they intertwine it with a new scene that they shot. So this is where you'll see that Lewis Black is back, and they're talking, and he's giving him all the stuff that they found on the crash.
Well, they bridge Tokyo Drift now. That end of Tokyo Drift where Dom is there. They're bridging this, and that's why Dom is there to retrieve the body.
Yep, and you're supposed to believe that Lewis Black, at this point, now 35 years old in real life, is still supposed to be a 17-year-old in high school, despite having a gray 5 o'clock shadow and wrinkles all over his face.
I can even live with that. It's the fact that Dom had a muscle car in Tokyo. Did he bring a car with him?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Maybe he rented it. What can you?
You're not renting that.
Have you ever rented a car in Tokyo? You don't know what they
No,
fucking
but
have.
it's not going to be an American muscle car like that.
But can't rule it out though.
You 100% can rule it out.
Because how else did he get the car? Because
I have no
assume he's
idea.
there for 2 days to get Han's body brought back to America. Which
Yeah.
again, does Han have no other family at all? It's just them? Because when they get to Han's funeral,
There's so many people.
and Vin Diesel's the
there's
one.
Asians.
And Vin Diesel's the one sitting in front of the casket, like, everyone else back up.
Like I said, these are Vin Diesel's movies. You got to live with them.
Dom's here, guys. Oh, you're the mother of the deceased? That's his father. No, this is no. Vin Diesel is his father. It's the head of the household.
So once we're at the funeral, we get back. We get Tej, Rome.
Well, we see them at the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying we get them back on the screen.
Oh yeah, because the team hasn't been assembled yet.
Yeah, they're mourning Han and Giselle at the funeral in L.A. And at the funeral, Dom spots a Aston Martin or some
That's a beautiful car.
some car that doesn't really belong there, because it sticks out. It doesn't go with his cruise car, and he just pegs that to be sure. So he jumps in his car and he chases him down. They go on a little chase through the city, and then they're in a tunnel. They play chicken, and they just crash right into each other.
And again, what happens?
More than once in this movie.
Twice, because you know what it is? Both of them have the balls of steel, so they're not going to let the other one win a chicken. So, hey, what do? We'll just drive both of our cars 100 miles per hour at least into each other head on, and if we fuck them up, we fuck them up. Jason Statham gets out of the car like he wasn't even in an accident. At least Vin Diesel, made it look
he's
like
got a reinforced chassis.
Vin Diesel, at least, he was a little banged up, but he shook it off. Jason Statham got out and just, now they're having a conversation.
Yeah, crazy.
But guess who shows up now? My fucking boy, the best actor in this movie.
So they're about to have not a street fight because Deckard had a gun, but that's where Kurt Russell pops in with him and his team. They pop in, they save the day. They give Dom an invite.
Well, he wants to come back, come back with us, and he's like, I can get you Deckard, but he needs him for something.
Yeah.
So this is when they go back to his base, and he explains who he is, and we get the biggest fucking ad placement for anything I've ever seen in a movie in my entire life. Matt, they actually, if you noticed while you were paying attention, it looks like a commercial. The Corona is in a bucket of ice. They pull the bucket up, and the frame rate changes while they're putting it up, and he slams it on the counter.
And it looks nice and icy cold.
It does look delicious.
Yeah, because Kurt Russell, he likes his Belgian ale or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Tom's like, I prefer a Corona. And he's like, well, I read your file. And he gets the bucket of Coronas out for Dom.
Yep.
And then he grabs just the neck like he always does. Yeah, that signature.
Belgian ale, which is there's so many Belgian ales. It's not a brand, it's just a type of beer.
Well, you can't use a brand. I guess they paid for Corona.
Corona, yeah, that's it. That's why they're being very distinct.
So Deckard got away, obviously, and then Dom goes back to the base with Kurt Russell. He says, look, we can get you, sure, but you have to get something for me. It's called the God's Eye. It's basically
it's basically a system that you probably saw in the video game Watch Dogs, where essentially you get access to every camera that's up and available to you, every satellite. Your God's Eye. You could find anybody anywhere is essentially what this tool is.
It's probably highly illegal. I'm sure 100%. The government has that already.
They do. All of them do. They have their own versions.
Yes. Yeah. So, crazy stuff, but not too crazy because it does exist. Imagine they got the idea from this movie. The government. They're like, oh shit, we should do
Well,
that.
think about it. When did you get GPS in your car? Like in like the 2000s? Mm-hmm. They were using GPSs in fucking the army and shit in the early 90s, like during the Gulf War, just because they get all the technology first, and then it goes to the citizen level.
Right.
So, eventually we'll have access to this if the Earth's still here. So,
Yeah, so we get
and then
we get the proposition from Kurt Russell.
and he already called in the team.
Yeah, because he's like, I knew you were gonna say yes, and I knew you were gonna. Because Dom's like, all right, well, I'm only doing it, but I'm using my team, and it's the only way we're. And he's like, well, I thought you'd say that, so I took the liberty of bringing him in. So he turns around, they're all walking in, and they like what they see.
They do, and then he's like, but there's one member left, and then that's when Letty comes back.
And then he gets Letty back, and then the crew is assembled.
Yep, and then they start breaking down what their mission is to get this God's Eye. Mm-hmm. Now, I was a little confused. This is where I got a little bit mixed up. They're going after the God's Eye thing, and I know that they get the actress from Game of Thrones at one point, the hacker. Ramsey. Now, was that the intention to get her all along, or was that an accident? Like, what was the goal? They wanted her and the God's Eye, or they just wanted the God's Eye?
I think they needed her to operate the God's Eye, maybe.
All right.
I'm not sure.
Because I know
they needed a hacker.
Because I know this is how they end up with her. And then this is just when the series really just goes off the rails. Because, first of all, Roman comes up with the plan.
I love that, though.
Oh, when Roman comes up with again, Tyrese is one of the best actors in these movies. He's fucking hysterical. He's always in on everything.
If I don't start making decisions, it's like, all right, Rome, well, what's the plan? Well, I didn't mean right now. I'm
But he
saying
actually
in the
does.
future.
But he actually does come up with the idea. And then, obviously Ludacris, Taj jumps in there. Taj jumps in there and is like, oh, actually, we can make that work. And I'm thinking, the first time I saw this, armored car or something, combine the bodies. Nope, we're going to jump these things out of a fucking plane.
Well, hold on, let's fill them in. So they're trying to basically get to this spot on the mountain that is extremely fortified, and for some reason they're transporting Ramsey and the God's Eye. Is the Ramsey and the God's Eye together?
Well, that's why
the God's Eye was somewhere else.
I was a little confused. This is where I got confused.
So anyway, there's a convoy transporting Ramsey in the bus, kind of like they did Rhino and X-Men. Mm-hmm. There's really no way in. The best way would be an aerial attack. So that's what we do. We build all these cars with long travel suspension to be dropped out of a plane. So, we cut to just the faces.
We don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're sitting there talking, and Rome is not happy. And then it pans out. They're all talking to each other on the walkie-talkies as they're sitting in the cars, and then it pans out, and then you see the bay door open on the plane, and then Dom just drives right out of the plane. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they all fly out, and then Rome's like, nah, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to hang up here with the pilot, make sure everything's good from up here. And then Tej is like, well, I knew you were going to say that, and they hits the button, he opens the parachute, sucks him out. Everyone, Brian, Letty, Tej, and Dom, they all get their parachutes and they get to the right spot, and then you just see Rome floating off in the distance because he didn't leave at the right time. So, but he comes back to save the day. So they get onto the ground after they land out of the plane.
Perfect.
Driving down
all
the
of
road.
them land perfectly.
Yeah, that's insane. So they land on the road. They're chasing the convoy, and then they get into some problems because that is a heavily armed convoy and bus.
Which is what, and this is the most ridiculous. Okay, there's a lot of ridiculous scenes in this movie, but this is when we realize that Dom really is a superhero. First of all, he gets cornered. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Nobody, played by Kurt Russell's looking at the screen with one of his boys, like, this guy's an asshole that he's with, and they're like, oh, he's caught. And he's like, no, Dom's not caught. He's like, come on, get out of this, Dom. Like, he is fanboying over Dom Toretto.
I love that.
Kurt Russell loves Dom Toretto. Like, he's like, I can't believe that this guy is with me right now.
Stuntman Mike.
Yeah, he's like, that's the guy.
I love it.
And he, of course, he does get out of it. How does he get out of it, Matt, though?
He does some donuts.
This is after they get Ramsey, by the way. They got Ramsey off the bus, which was a pretty cool scene. They blow the back of the bus off. Brian jumps up there, beats everybody up. They throw Ramsey onto the hood of Dom's car. As they're getting away, he gets jammed up with all these guys. He's on the corner of a cliff in the dirt. Does a few donuts, makes some smoke to cloud his getaway. He tells Ramsey to put her helmet on.
Put her helmet on, and then he drives right off the cliff because they're in a cage. So technically, I mean, again, that much of a a crash, they probably would have been dead. But, you know, you got the roll cage on it.
And the helmet's going to protect her head, not Dom's
I mean,
head.
you're dead that way, or you can try your chances, so I guess that's...
I mean, it worked out.
Yeah, you know, they ended up getting out of there scot-free.
And then they're at... Where were they sitting in the
They
next
just went
scene?
to some lake.
Yeah, like, was that at the bottom of the mountain? Like, did the
Not
car...
entirely sure. They're at some lake. They start talking to Ramsey. She pegs everyone. She does the, all right, you're the brains, you're the bronze, you're the jock, you're the douche,
and then
whatever
the
it
was.
Male,
and then the
alpha
best
male.
is Roman. the
Joker, yeah.
He's like, no, I'm the second alpha.
So the Joker. But that was really fun. I like that. And then
and she basically gives them the rundown of what the God's Eye is, and they bring it back, I think, to Kurt Russell, right?
no, they don't have the God's Eye yet because Ramsey had the God's Eye, but she stashed it.
Yes.
So she's like, all right, so where's the God's Eye? And they said, well, it's in Dubai.
Oh yeah, I love.
So and then Dom's like, we're going to the Middle East.
That was ridiculous. I'm
Yeah.
like, can you just make calls like that?
Yeah. So the next scene, we're in Dubai, which is beautiful.
But that's
like one of the richest places in the world.
And also one of the most fucking best looking places to fucking make a movie. Like Ghost Protocol, the fourth Mission Impossible goes there too.
Yeah, Dubai is pretty fucking wild.
That's why they keep shooting there, because it looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah, Dubai's cool. So we are in Dubai now.
They have to orchestrate a plan to go to this.
Well, they're on the beach, and then we see Ramsey in her bathing suit, and everyone's like, oh, Ramsey's so hot. Look at that body.
She is hot.
Yeah. So we get that, and then we talk to one of Ramsey's friends or something, and he says, well, you see those buildings over there? I sold the whatever. I guess he didn't know.
No, because he was keeping it in one of those, in the car.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. He either sold the car, or I guess it was stashed in the car, and he sold the car to the prince of whatever, one of the richest guys. The tallest building around here. Yeah, it's in that building on the top floor.
In a penthouse.
Yeah, so
Which Brian brings up a good point. 1 of 7 of these in the world, and you keep it in a penthouse?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep. Why wouldn't you drive it? It's a shame.
Yeah.
They get their invite to the party. They go to the party, pretty banging party. Roman's
Looks
like,
fun.
this is what they do.
He doesn't
every
want to
day.
leave.
He's like, I'm move here.
Yeah.
What's he called? He wants Blarab. He wants to be
he wants to be a black Arab, you said.
Great new race. They're having a great time at the party, and then Ronda Rousey shows up, which I hate.
I hate it. She's such a bad actress, man.
Yeah.
Horrible. Well, it's not even just that. Like, they let her, deliver a line in, I guess, Russian, and it felt like she probably practiced that for a month.
Yeah.
And it still came out horrible.
So we got our plan. We're in there. Rome's gonna cause a distraction. Letty does a little recon, and Dom and Brian are
Find the car.
with finding the car. It's a Lycan Hypersport, which I've actually never even heard of.
I have, only because of Forza.
It's in Forza?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
That Maserati that Jason Statham was driving has a really cool Forza edition that I drive all the time.
is it a Maserati or Aston Martin?
Aston Martin, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Either way, that car has a cool Forza edition.
Okay. So we are at that party, right? Well, Dom just picks up the car.
Of course, and he's holding it for so long. You know what? You're right. I'm glad you brought that up. How heavy is that car?
Well, here's the thing. It's a hypercar. I don't know too much about it. It's probably not that heavy. However, I don't think you're picking that up.
And he's holding it while he's
once you get it up, you can lock, and there's that.
And use your back.
Yeah. So, but the fact that he just kind of picked it up, that's 100% Vin Diesel said, because they were probably like, oh, well, maybe you guys brought a bottle jack or something. And Dom's like, no. What if I just pick, it's a light car,
Yeah, I'll lift
Dom
it.
is strong. Maybe I'll just pick it up.
And all for nothing, because they didn't even get it from that.
No. So Brian's on there looking for something. They give up because Letty gets caught. Mm-hmm. So the alarms start tripping. Tej is trying to... Well, actually, Tej and Ramsey are hacking something, and they're trying to keep the emergency doors from going down or whatever. So Dom and Brian have no choice but to get in the car, and so they
Cars don't fly, Dom.
They blow through the party. They drive right out the window of this 100-something floor building into the next building.
And they have no brakes, by the
Land
way.
perfectly into the next building. They didn't hit in between floors. They nailed that. And then, of course, the brakes go out. Mm-hmm. So instead of that, we'll just step on the gas again and go to the next building.
And then, because they still have no brakes, so he's got to spin that around.
So
and
they
slow
spin around and they bail out of the car.
At the very last
second. The car blows out of the window. They are perfectly safe, right?
Of course.
But we got what we needed because Brian found it while they were driving. It was somewhere in the center console. They got what they needed.
Where do they go after they get?
How did they get out of there? They just walked out of there, right?
Yeah, that was it. It's the end of the scene.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah, they found a way to. Everything went out after that.
Because Rome got captured, detained, right?
So did Letty, didn't she? Like they all got. Well, I guess the distraction of the car going through the party probably caused a lot of people scatter. They probably were able to sneak out that way.
So anyway, we have the God's Eye now. We held up our end of the bargain. We go back to Kurt Russell, and he's like, perfect, we have it. Plug it in. My men are yours. Let's find Deckard Shaw for you. So now we see that Shaw is hidden.
Oh, Shaw was at the party. We forgot to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. He
was there the whole time. And I have no idea why he was there, even on the mountain. The only thing that he did was he was wearing a skull cap now.
Well, he popped in at the last second, and then he started shooting grenade launchers.
Yeah, but why was he there? Is he just there hunting them? Like he's just.
I think so.
That's it, right? He's just bouncing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We don't really. Whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They plug in the God's Eye. They find Shaw. He is at some abandoned, steel mill or some plant or whatever somewhere.
Of course,
some factory. They go there with his. Well, Dom's like, all right, we'll leave at dawn to go get Shaw. And then, of course, we're not leaving at dawn. He tells his team to go sleep, and then he's like, all right, let's go. He pulls Kurt Russell aside. He's like, all right, we're going to go right now.
Yeah.
And then Brian's like, well, I knew you were going to say that, so I'm coming. So we have a nice little hunting party. So we go to find Shaw, and he's just sitting there hanging out, eating a steak dinner in the middle of this factory, which is crazy.
I guess he knew that. I'm guessing what happened was he had the binoculars, he saw them coming, and then he's like, all right, let me set this up so that it's all ready for when they get here. Because he's like, I got friends.
Yeah, so they all walk in, and then Shaw goes to wipe his mouth, but as he wipes his mouth, he pulls the pin out of the grenade that he was hiding in his napkin.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's a ballsy motherfucker, I'll give him that.
Right.
I'm not pulling
and then Dom steps up to him, he's like, I'm ready to meet my maker, are you? And then he's like, this is it? This is all the people?
12 men? That's all I'm worth?
He's like, I got family or something like that. And then Shaw was like, well, I have a lot of friends. And then the lights go out. His whole team pulls in. I don't know where these guys came from, but...
I mean, we saw the one guy earlier in the movie, actually. The one guy from Gladiator, and he plays, what's his name, in freaking Guardians of the Galaxy.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's weird because I watched Guardians of the Galaxy and this movie back-to-back days.
Yes.
There's a lot of people in Guardians of the Galaxy that are in this movie.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, I did. Actually.
Including Vin Diesel.
Yep.
So... That and Mr. Nobody is in Guardians too, Kurt Russell, so it's like, there's a lot of people overlap.
So we are ambushed now. They ambush Kurt Russell's guys. They have the iPad out, and he's tracking, but they're taking down all Kurt Russell's guys. But Dom Bryan and Kurt Russell get out of there. Kurt Russell is shot.
He gets
He's
tagged
injured,
a couple times.
But they get in the SUV, they take off, and then Kurt Russell uses his... whatever.
He let it go to the hospital. He's all right, I already got guys inbound on me, so just stop right here.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta really try that Belgian ale.
Yeah.
Nice little callback, I guess.
So he's all right. He survives. We leave Kurt Russell. The medics are inbound for him, and then we get back in the car with Dom and Brian. He said, we have a war coming. Let's fight it on our own turf. So we go back to L.A.
Yeah, now, somehow in there, is this when the other team, is this when Shaw got the God's Eye back?
I think he did, yes.
Yeah, so but they have Ramsey who made the
it
God's Eye.
It was on the iPad.
Yeah.
And it was left at that factory. Brian couldn't get it.
Yep.
So
but they have a Ramsey, so they're okay.
Yeah, so we're back in L.A.
Yep, and this is where we get that cool shot again from the first one looking over L.A., and these are their streets. Nobody knows them better than them.
Yes, and like you said, this is the scene from the beginning of the first one where Brian was doing the speed test on the Eclipse. Mm-hmm. Came a long way from trying to make our car fast to trying to save the world.
Stealing DVD players and VCRs.
Yeah.
Now we're literally dealing with the God's Eye and ghost fucking people from the military.
Quite a journey in 5 movies, but you know, that's why we love them.
Okay. Oh, they're playing hot. They're gonna play hot potato with Ramsey because she's gonna hack it, but they're gonna figure it out, and then they're gonna
Well,
look for
hold on,
her.
we're not there yet. Another phone call conversation because Mia is in the Dominican Republic with their son Jack at some facility or some fortress be under protection.
Yeah.
while this is all
Brian
going
said
down.
she said to him like, "Oh wow, this place is heavily guarded."
Yes. So they're protecting Brian's family. We get a phone call, and Brian's basically saying, "Look, shit's about to go down.
Oh, this is yeah.
Yeah, if you don't hear from me in 24 hours, tell Jack I love him and I love you, Mia." And she's like, "Don't say that, blah, 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 blah," but we all know what's gonna happen.
And this is when she tells him that she's pregnant, so he has to come home.
Yeah, so
Has to
yeah,
come
she tells him.
Come home to her, she says.
Yes.
And, Jordana Brewster, I mean, she kind of takes a back seat in the franchise for a while. So she's
Yeah.
kind of stopped driving with them and everything
Yeah.
like that. She became a mom.
Right.
But she still can act. I like when she's called upon, she does a good job.
Okay. Now our plan is underway. It's time for
Our mission, which
our
is to
mission,
get
yes.
that God's Eye back. And we have to hack into it right now and kill Shaw, essentially.
yeah.
Or-
So I guess the goal was they have to drive around and get their faces seen, so they start tracking.
Yeah.
And then when he gets close, they can hack him.
Yep.
So they thought it would be in a car or something, but it turns out to be a stealth helicopter.
Yeah, they had no plans for the helicopter.
Yeah, so they had to do they had to pull an audible.
Yep, and they're like basically passing Ramsey around like she's gonna go car to car while she hacks. So, and I think the last one's supposed to be Vin Diesel, right?
Yeah.
They're all set up in different spots, all ready to go. But she starts out with.
Yeah, pretty cool scene. So yeah,
I love the car that Tej is driving. By the way, I know most people don't like those old cars like that, but I love those.
what was he driving again?
It was like an old like '80s Chevy, I think, or something like that. You know,
Tej was not driving anything.
well, somebody was driving. Was
Rome.
Rome was driving.
So
it.
Rome was driving
Tej,
that, and I think that's a callback to Too Fast, Too Furious, because that's like a car you would use in like a demo derby.
he was driving a car like that.
It was like a Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
always liked those cars.
Yeah, they're cool, like boats.
Yeah.
But,
it's not a
um,
Monte Carlo. Monte Carlos were only in 2 doors. That was a 4-door.
So maybe it was like a Caprice Classic or
Could
something.
be a Caprice Class.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But I like
it's
them.
some sort of big old boat-sized Chevy. We're in that car, and Tej is in the back seat hacking.
Yeah, they're hacking it.
And Ramsey's in the passenger seat.
Yeah, they're working together pretty much.
And then Brian is, I forget what he's driving. He's in a Skyline. Mm-hmm. He's got his Skyline, and I don't remember what Dom's driving. Some sort of Charger.
Yeah,
right?
it's a Charger. Yeah.
There's a big Mopar guy.
Because remember, don't forget that later in this scene, we're going to get another chicken thing on the roof.
Yes, right. Oh, yeah. Because we go back to the thing, he pulls the cover off the car in the garage, and he goes, "One more ride."
Yep.
Again. So,
That's
yeah,
how
he's in the Charger. I can't believe this car is still around. They destroyed a lot of Chargers for these movies. And
Oh
that's
my
a shame.
god. One cool, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to break down the whole chase scene, but one thing I really liked is when they're passing Ramsey along with the cars and they spin into each other. They're doing like donuts, and Ramsey goes from right as the other car's about to be blown up. They did that twice, actually.
Right. So while this is all happening,
Oh yeah, Hobbs like says that they need him.
Hobbs sees it on the news, and then he sees like an explosion in the distance, and he's like, "Fuck it, Daddy's got to go to work."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he breaks his
He
cast
breaks
off.
the cast. He doesn't
And
rip it out.
I like how he had all his gear and his gun and everything in the hospital room.
This is the shit that always fucking is insane to me. He has to have his fucking
have to.
outfit all ready to go. And they have a nice little thing of him putting it on. We see him clipping it together, and
Like at the beginning of Batman
forever. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's putting his suit on.
I like that.
He's basically a superhero.
With the nipple cutouts for.
Well, yeah, that was Joel Schumacher for you.
So Hobbs is all geared up, ready to go to work, and I think he's got like he has like a fucking minigun. He comes out like the Terminator.
Yeah, because this is him paying. He does a rock bottom in this movie.
He does do a rock bottom. Yeah. He rock bottoms fucking Jason Statham.
Yeah.
I love that too. Like that was a fucking rock bottom.
That minigun. Anytime I see the minigun, I always think of T2 or Predator. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's got to be. And you know what? The Rock is our modern day Arnold, so he has to carry a minigun at some point, right?
Yep. So he leaves the hospital, destroys the drone with an ambulance.
Yeah, remember that the drone was chasing them, and then it got like stuck under the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
He destroyed it. He destroyed it because it was going to kill the other. It was going to kill Letty and Ramsey. Well, do you remember how the tower got destroyed right when they were almost done hacking it? So Brian had to go back up there and manually do it.
They lost the signal.
And then
so
when they finally do reconnect, that's when they
like
take
a linesman or
Yeah.
an electrician up there. Yep.
Yep, and then that's how they eventually do take it down.
Yep, so they get that. Ramsey gets the hack to get God's Eye back.
Conde.
So he was the one driving the helicopter.
Yes.
So Dom, he's got like a satchel charge, a backpack with some explosives. Dom and Deckard engage in a brawl on top. So this is when they crash one more time, but Dom does the wheelie.
So he lands on top of the car.
Which would destroy the undercarriage, the drive shaft, all that. The car is undrivable after that, but it's, not a scratch. So that is done. We get out of the car. We have a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a street fight because, that's what we wanted the whole time. They have a little brawl. Somehow I guess they shoot missiles or something at the parking garage because it, collapses.
Yep.
But Dom has that one line, the
Thing about street fights, the street always wins.
on the ground and then the whole building collapses.
The last step that took it down.
So we're led to believe that Shaw is, I guess, disposed of, or I don't know. He's incapacitated.
These are just like the MCU. This movie.
So he's gone like Super Shredder and the Ninja Turtles when the dock falls on him. So he's gone, and then Dom gets in the Charger, which should be destroyed, but is perfectly in working order, and jumps and skims the helicopter. But as he's close to that, he just hooks the bag onto the rails of the helicopter.
Somehow perfect.
It blows up, so he gets rid of both guys.
Yep.
He got Shaw and his right-hand man.
Well, Dom is the leader.
Laser bags and grenades on the helicopter, crashes into the rubble garage. Hobbs shoots the backpack and blows up the helicopter.
Okay.
So Dom got the assist.
Yep.
Or Hobbs got the assist.
Hobbs was doing a lot of assisting.
However you want to look at it.
They actually did need Hobbs to finish this.
Dom's car crashes after crashing into the helicopter, and it's still got a roll cage. Way less of a crash than down the mountain, but now he's all banged up.
This time he's banged up. He's been in fucking two head-on collisions and rolled down a mountain.
He's unconscious. Letty pulls him out, and she says, "I remember everything."
Well,
now.
no. First, Brian is doing CPR on him, and that doesn't work. CPR is not going to. They all want to stop because they're like, he's dead.
You're right.
But because Letty grabs his head and puts him in her arms, what saves Dom? Family.
Yes.
Family saves Dom.
That's right. I forgot about
Medical? No.
Yeah, so we did the CPR, no good. But Letty's like, all right, listen to me. Look, I remember everything. It just came back to me like a flood. I remember this, and this. And then I remember that we're married. And then Dom just...
It's about time.
Yeah. Again, this is just Vin Diesel. But we love that. It's just... Yeah, so again...
Family saved his life.
Yeah, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I guess nothing.
So, after that, Dom he's perfectly fine. Letty regains back her memories, remembering the wedding. Yep, so we remember the wedding. We get a little flashback of them getting married and all that. I forget where they got married.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, probably. And then we see Deckard getting arrested and going to some secure underground prison somewhere that he says, this isn't going to hold me. And then The Rock's like, well, once you get out, I'll be waiting for you with a body bag.
Yep, he's like, my fist and then a body bag if you can get through 30 feet of cement and steel. Now, of course, what happens in a little movie called Hobbs and Shaw, Matt? Who teams up together?
Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think in 8 they talk about,
Well, they fight in prison in 8.
8 gets they
because it's just literally like a Marvel movie.
We'll get
the
there.
villain joins the team eventually.
We'll get there. So after that, we pan to the team relaxing on a tropical beach. Now, I don't think this was originally going to be in the movie.
It wasn't. You could tell.
So this is, again, we lost Paul Walker during the filming?
Yeah, they hadn't finished yet. So they brought his brothers in to help them.
Yeah.
So they brought him in to help finish the movie, but you could tell that they didn't have any footage. So they kind of just shot him from a distance, and then you can even tell he's all lit up a certain way, like when they two cars pull together, and they pull a line from, I guess, a previous movie.
Well, the team's sitting there on the beach, and Brian's out there with Mia playing with his family, and then Tej is like, look, everyone just shut up. Look, he's home. This is him. And this was their farewell, the send off to Brian, because this was like the movie was dedicated to Paul Walker, and this is what they had to do with the character, unfortunately. So Dom gets up and goes to leave. He gets in the car, and he's like, "I'm not even gonna say goodbye," blah blah blah. And then Brian pulls up to him at a light, says, "What? You couldn't say goodbye?" They have one little.
They just look at each other.
They look at each other. They smile. They take off, and then Brian takes the road to the left, and they sunset him, and that's where I cry.
Yeah, well, you get the Wiz Khalifa song in there, and then he's like, I think that me and Brian got along so well because he also lived his life 1/4 mile
I
at
don't
a
think
time.
he said. Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. It was always,
But yeah, then Paul Walker, Dom does a eulogy type thing, and they were just showing all flashback scenes of
From the first
previous movies and all that stuff, and then we cut to the credits, and it says for Paul, and
yeah, it is
the Buster.
The Buster. Yeah, it is emotional. But you could definitely tell that they didn't have that planned. But it's really nice that he got that send off. And it's the best part of the whole movie, in my opinion, because the rest of it is not great.
Yes, but our camera is about to die, so we're going to kind of try to
we have
get through this as fast as possible.
So this was Fast and Furious 7. Next week will be the Fate of the Furious, or Fast and Furious 8, however you want to look at it. So if you're watching along with us, definitely check that one out before next Thursday. And we'll be seeing you then. So if you do like this kind of video, or you like listening to us on all podcast services, make sure you give us a like, a share, and subscribe. And then after you're done doing all of that, grab your Dodge Charger and go tell all your friends about us.